The official transmission did not begin with a warning. It began with dismissal. Humanity, classified as a scavenger species, ranked below even minor industrial civilizations. Their orbital infrastructure was described not as a defense grid but as a debris field, unregulated, inefficient, and primitive. To the Coalition's analysts, Earth was not a threat. It was an anomaly of poor habits, a culture that hoarded failure instead of discarding it. A world that surrounded itself with broken hulls, dead satellites, and fragments of alien technology too unstable or obsolete to be used elsewhere. From orbit, it looked exactly like that. Vast rings of drifting metal, tangled frameworks, and hollowed ships rotating in silence. No symmetry. No order. No visible command structure. Just layers of accumulated wreckage stacked over decades, expanding outward like a neglected scar around the planet. The Coalition fleets recorded it all and reached the same conclusion: no species that allowed this level of disorder could pose meaningful resistance. Their doctrine favored precision. Clean lines. Predictable systems. Every ship identical in function and response, optimized for coordinated strikes. Against that, Earth offered nothing recognizable. No fleet formations. No defensive perimeters. No active deterrence. Just junk. The decision was immediate. A preemptive strike would eliminate any future uncertainty. The fleet advanced without hesitation, weapons primed, calculations flawless. They would clear the orbital debris, disable surface capabilities, and claim what little value remained. No one questioned why the debris field was still there. No one asked why humanity never cleared it. They saw waste. They assumed weakness. And in doing so, they failed to understand the one pattern humans never abandoned. They never threw anything away. The first strike landed exactly as predicted. Precision beams cut through drifting hulls, vaporizing clusters of debris and carving clean corridors toward low orbit. Fragments scattered, some igniting briefly before fading into cold silence. Coalition sensors confirmed minimal resistance. No counterfire. No coordinated response. Just the slow collapse of an already broken system. Then the readings changed. Power signatures flickered where none should exist. Dead satellites transmitted bursts of data across frequencies long abandoned. Pieces of wreckage altered trajectory without propulsion. At first it registered as interference. Residual energy discharges, nothing more. But the pattern stabilized. Signals synchronized. Movement aligned. The debris was organizing. Across the orbital field, fragments began to converge. Plates of armor rotated and locked together. Engine cores, once inert, reignited as if they had never been dormant. Weapon systems assembled from mismatched components snapped into place with mechanical certainty. There were no construction yards, no visible command ships, only the scrapyard itself reshaping in real time. Coalition targeting systems failed to categorize what was forming. No known ship classes matched the emerging structures. Every skin returned inconsistencies. Alien alloys fused with human fabrication, experimental frameworks reinforced by salvaged military-grade components. Designs contradicted established engineering logic, yet functioned flawlessly. More structures formed. Larger. Faster. What had been scattered junk became something deliberate. Not uniform, not predictable, but undeniably precise. Each formation was different, adapting as it assembled, altering configurations before completion. There was no repetition to study, no baseline to counter. Then the first completed construct powered its weapons. And the Coalition realized the field they were clearing was not debris. It was waiting. The first return fire shattered the Coalition's assumptions. A newly formed vessel accelerated without warning, its propulsion signature shifting mid-burst, bypassing predictive tracking. It struck with a weapon that did not match any known classification, energy output fluctuating, unstable by every standard, yet devastatingly effective. Shields calibrated for consistency failed against something that refused to remain consistent. More constructs joined the engagement. None of them identical. One elongated and split apart, releasing smaller attack frames that reattached after impact. Another absorbed fragments from a destroyed ally, reconfiguring its hull before the debris had finished dispersing. Damage did not accumulate the way Coalition models expected. It was replaced, reworked, repurposed in seconds. Targeting systems collapsed under the strain of variation. Algorithms built on repetition found none. Every engagement produced new data that became obsolete instantly. There was no pattern to predict because nothing repeated long enough to study. Human vessels moved through the battlefield like shifting equations, changing variables faster than they could be solved. Weapons appeared where there had been none moments before. Defensive structures rearranged under fire, redirecting force instead of resisting it. Even destruction fed the system, every loss breaking apart into components that were immediately reclaimed by something else. Coalition formations began to fracture. Precision required stability, and stability no longer existed. Orders conflicted as ships reacted to threats that changed before responses could execute. Communication lagged behind reality. Then the flagship engaged directly. It deployed its most advanced targeting suite, locking onto a single human construct. For a fraction of a moment, the system achieved clarity. Then the target split, merged with surrounding debris, and became something else entirely. The firing solution vanished. And for the first time, the Coalition realized they were not fighting ships. They were fighting a process that refused to stay broken. The collapse was not dramatic. It was quiet, controlled, and absolute. Coalition ships withdrew in fragments, formations dissolving as command structures failed to keep pace with a battlefield that no longer followed rules. Every retreat vector was contested by constructs that did not pursue in straight lines, did not behave with intent that could be predicted. The fleet that had arrived in perfect symmetry left in scattered trajectories, abandoning the objective entirely. As the last signatures faded beyond engagement range, the motion in Earth's orbit slowed. Constructs disengaged. Weapon systems powered down. Hulls separated along seams that had not existed before, breaking apart into the same irregular shapes that once drifted without purpose. Engines went silent. Signals ceased. Within minutes, the orbital field returned to what it had always appeared to be, nothing more than accumulated wreckage. No victory broadcast followed. No declaration was made. From the surface, there was no visible change. The planet remained encircled by debris, unchanged in form, unchanged in perception. But the data had already spread. Across Coalition networks, recordings of the engagement were reviewed, analyzed, and ultimately flagged as unsolvable within existing models. The conclusion was not that humanity possessed superior technology. It was worse. Humanity rejected the need for perfection entirely. Where others refined, humans repurposed. Where others discarded failure, humans stored it, studied it, and built upon it. Every flawed design, every broken system, every incompatible fragment was not removed from their reach, it was added to it. The scrapyard was not a sign of neglect. It was a record of everything they had ever learned. And when tested, it became everything they needed. The galaxy had prepared for advanced weapons, for superior fleets, for enemies that followed logic it understood. It had not prepared for a species that saw no difference between ruin and resource. Because to humanity, nothing was ever truly useless. Only waiting.